Coverage you can count on begins with the fear of tragedy leaving Augusta city leaders ready to move forward with a major expansion of the Webster Detention Center. The new addition will cost big bucks, but commissioners are not prepared to wait until the next phase of the sales tax before going to work. News Channel 6's senior reporter George Escala has the details of the financial gamble.
Overcrowding at the Webster Detention Center. Sheriff Roundtree, before commissioners, was asked what will happen if it's not addressed.
What do you foresee? Someone's going to die, Commissioner. Can you say that again? Someone's going to die.
The overcrowded jail is a big problem, but building a new pod with 200 beds has a big $37.5 million price tag. Usually an item like this would be on the next phase of the sales tax, but that's not expected to start until 2027. And city leaders do not want to wait on that.
You heard the sheriff say out of his mouth that, he's afraid someone's going to die. And I think that we all understand the sense of urgency to have a bigger jail pod when we're overbooked on the number of people there.
Commissioners preparing to go out for bonds for the new pod, but the city will face almost $3 million in interest payments before the next SPLOST could take over. But that's only if voters approve.
It's always a gamble, but I think that most residents will understand the need for housing prisoners and keeping these violent criminals off the streets.
But some city leaders have sticker shock over the costs of expanding the jail.
We also have to have a conversation about the folks who are just sitting in Webster waiting for trial, waiting for a court date. I think there are other ways to deal with this other than just throwing money out there.
But the conversation has started with the city preparing to spend millions for more space at the jail. In Augusta, George Escala, WJBF, News Channel 6.